the University of Nebraska Community Gardens right here on campus looking for some disease. I tried to find some disease in the backyard farmer garden. However, we've done such a great job with that garden that I wasn't able to find any disease. So we're going to take some time and see if we can find anything in these gardens right here. Here we got some cucurbits, some squash actually growing here with some powdery mildew developing on the leaves. That's this nice white powdery growth that we're actually seeing on the leaf surface. It has been great weather for this disease to develop. It loves high humidity weather and also is more favorable in areas where we don't have a lot of air currents. So one of the best managements for powdery mildew is to increase airflow in the area. We're in the time of year that we're seeing a lot of tomato diseases starting to develop in our gardens. And here's one example where we're seeing the yellow leaves on our tomato plants with these dark brown necrotic spots. With most of our tomato diseases that we have on our foliage, it's going to start at the lower part of the plant and it's going to work its way up the plant as it progresses. To tell the difference between some of the common tomato diseases such as early blight, also known as alternaria, we're going to take a look at those little brown spots and we're going to see if we can see concentric rings. So it almost looks like the rings on a tree developing, and this is how the fungus is developing and getting older and the spores are being produced. Now to compare that to some of the bacterial diseases that we have, you're going to have that exact same brown necrotic spot, but typically we always have a bright yellow halo surrounding that lesion, and we don't see the rings that are corresponding with the development of that lesion. It's important to know the difference when we're looking at a management standpoint. For alternaria or early blight, we can apply a fungicide to prevent it from moving up the plant any higher. However, for our bacterial diseases, there isn't really any products that we recommend that we spray. So we're going to be looking at cultural type management recommendations to manage that disease. But for both of them, if we use cultural practices in our garden, we can really reduce the severity of disease in our garden. When we're looking at any disease management in our garden, there are a couple things that we really need to keep in mind. And first of all is air movement in our garden. As an example back here, we have a little overcrowding of our tomatoes and the cucurbits right behind there. Without that air movement, we're providing ample opportunity for those fungi to be able to germinate and to infect and cause more problems. So we need to consider how much space we have in between plants and in our garden area as a whole to keep that air movement going through there. The next thing to do, just good sanitation. If we're seeing those spots developing on our tomatoes, we need to start picking them off and removing them from the landscape so we're reducing that inoculum. And last of all, we need to avoid watering from above. We need to be putting those soaker hoses down, especially on our tomatoes, to help reduce the amount of disease. Also, that nice mulch beds will also help with the reduction of the disease developing in your garden and in your tomatoes and cucurbits later on. If you follow a few of these basic cultural practices, you can reduce the amount of disease you see every year in your garden, and you'll be able to produce a lot more fruit overall.